Kylie Jenner, at just 21 years old, was crowned the youngest self-made billionaire the world had ever seen. At least, that's what Forbes told us. She was touted as the shining example of how social media could propel anyone from a teenager to the top of the wealth pyramid. The headlines hailed her as a business genius, a self-made mogul who had cracked the code of modern entrepreneurship. But within just a year, the same magazine accused her of fabricating numbers, inflating her wealth, and building a facade that could collapse under the weight of its own lies. So, what's the real story? Was Kylie ever truly a billionaire? Or was it all a carefully constructed illusion? Before we get into the truth, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss the shocking details we're about to uncover. To understand how Kylie Jenner managed to pull off what seemed like the impossible, you need to look deeper into her rise to fame. It's not just about lipstick and lip kits, it's about how she manipulated scarcity, hype, and social media to build a seemingly unstoppable empire. How did she create a brand from nothing but Instagram selfies and Twitter posts? And how did some of the biggest financial players in the world, Coty included, fall for it without questioning the numbers behind it all? Let's rewind the clock. Kylie was born into one of the most famous families in America, 1997, right in the middle of the Kardashian-Jenner machine. By the time she was only 10 years old, her family's reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, had transformed them into global superstars. Kim was the one everyone noticed. Khloe and Kourtney each carved out their niches, and Kendall was making waves in high fashion. But Kylie? She wasn't exactly like her older siblings. She didn't have the supermodel looks or the same entrepreneurial spirit, but what she did have was a front-row seat to how fame could be monetized. By the time Kylie hit her early teens, she was well-versed in Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. She wasn't the glamorous Kardashian, but she knew how to create a sense of relatability. Kylie's followers, millions of teenage girls, flooded her social media to copy her style, her makeup, and even her every post. And that's when Kylie realized her true asset, her power to influence an entire generation. In 2015, Kylie had an epiphany. Everywhere she went, she was asked about her lips specifically, how she'd gotten them to look so full. Rather than hide from the speculation, she leaned into it. She didn't try to deflect or deny the questions. Instead, she decided to turn her insecurities into cash. She launched the Kylie Lip Kit, a $29 package containing lipstick and lip liner. Initially, only 15,000 kits were made, and they were sold exclusively online. And within minutes of the launch, gone. The internet went wild. What Kylie discovered was the modern formula for wealth: limited supply, viral hype, and an audience that was addicted to scarcity. When you create something people can't get, they'll do whatever it takes to have it. The next few years were a whirlwind. Every product release felt like an event, an exclusive, unmissable moment. Fans would wait for hours online, only to see the product sell out within seconds. This artificial scarcity led to a booming resale market, where lip kits were sold for triple the original price. By the end of 2016, Kylie Cosmetics was more than just a beauty brand. It had become a cultural phenomenon. At first glance, the numbers seemed staggering. Tens of millions of dollars in revenue, almost no overhead, and an iconic brand with minimal marketing costs. Kylie was the marketing. But here's where things started to get complicated. The beauty industry is notorious for being secretive, and when it comes to celebrity-backed brands, exaggeration is common. In 2017, Forbes reported that Kylie Cosmetics had made a jaw-dropping $330 million in sales in a single year. This number made waves. It was absurd for a 2-year-old company. And of course, Forbes ran with it. The magazine declared that Kylie was on track to become the youngest billionaire in history. Headlines exploded with praise for her. She was the ultimate example of self-made success. But then the cracks began to show. In 2019, it was revealed that the numbers weren't quite as accurate as Forbes had originally reported. Internal documents from Kylie's team surfaced, revealing that sales figures had been exaggerated. Tax returns were allegedly altered. Revenue had been made to look far higher than it actually was. Forbes had relied heavily on the numbers provided by Kylie's accountants, without realizing the entire picture was a carefully curated illusion. And then came the deal that seemed to prove everything. In 2019, Kylie sold a 51% stake in her cosmetics empire to Coty, a publicly traded beauty giant. The price tag? A whopping $600 million, valuing the entire company at $1.2 billion. For the public, this was the moment of validation. Kylie wasn't just a celebrity entrepreneur, she was now officially a billionaire. Forbes confirmed it. But when Coty's financial filings were made public, everything started to fall apart. The sales figures? Nowhere near what had been promised. The $330 million revenue from 2017? More like $125 million. By 2019, sales had plummeted to just $177 million, a far cry from the billion-dollar empire that had been sold to investors and fans alike. Forbes felt betrayed. In an incredibly rare public takedown, the magazine released an article in 2020 rescinding Kylie's billionaire title, accusing her of inflating her business and forging tax returns. The same publication that had once celebrated her had now revealed her empire to be a house of cards. The world watched as the youngest billionaire narrative crumbled into dust. But here's the kicker: despite all of this, Kylie was still sitting on a mountain of wealth. The Coty deal alone had given her hundreds of millions in cash. After the sale, Forbes estimated Kylie's true net worth to be around $900 million, still a staggering fortune for someone her age. So, no, she wasn't technically a billionaire. But let's be honest, she wasn't hurting for money. The scandal didn't erase her fortune, it just exposed how much of it had been built on a carefully crafted illusion. But why did Forbes get it so wrong? How did the most trusted name in wealth rankings get duped for years? The answer lies in the very nature of the celebrity economy. Kylie wasn't just a businesswoman, she was a carefully constructed brand, a story, a headline, and Forbes wanted that headline. Kylie wanted the credibility that came with being a billionaire. It was a perfect partnership until the numbers became too big to ignore. Kylie's rise and fall raised some uncomfortable questions about modern wealth. Is being self-made about building a product? Or is it about building an audience? In the age of social media, where perception is everything, does it even matter if the numbers are exaggerated as long as investors buy into the story? Kylie didn't lose. She still made hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, Coty may have overpaid, Forbes may have been embarrassed, but Kylie herself wasn't suffering. Today, Kylie continues to run her brand under Coty, though it's no longer the cultural juggernaut it once was. Competition has grown fierce, with her sisters launching their own rival beauty lines, and the hype around lip kits has faded. But her influence? That remains untouchable. With millions of followers across all social platforms, Kylie has something far more valuable than a line of products: attention. And in the modern world, attention is often worth more than reality. So, was Kylie Jenner ever really a billionaire? Officially, no. The scandal proved that the numbers had been inflated. But in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? She still turned teenage insecurity into a multi-million-dollar empire. She leveraged her family fame into a thriving business. And in doing so, she taught an entire generation that in the age of social media, perception can often be more valuable than truth. Kylie Jenner may not have been the world's youngest self-made billionaire, but she was something just as powerful: a master of illusion. And in a world where the line between marketing and truth has never been thinner, that might be worth even more than $1 billion. Thanks for watching. If you want more deep dives into how the world's wealthiest and most creative minds built their empires, make sure to subscribe right now. Because next time, we're going to dig into another creator who managed to turn their passion into billions.